Is this the face of a revolutionary or a tyrant? Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, better known as MBS, is one of the most polarizing figures of our time. To some, he's a modernizer who's dragging Saudi Arabia into the 21st century. To others, he's a ruthless autocrat, accused of fueling a brutal war in Yemen and orchestrating the murder of a journalist. But one thing is clear, MBS is a man of immense power, and with the global energy crisis, his influence is only growing. So the question is, how dangerous is MBS? Just a few years ago, Saudi Arabia was a country where public entertainment was banned, women couldn't drive, and religious police patrolled the streets. Fast forward to today, and the scene is almost unrecognizable. Men and women mix freely, concerts light up the night, and female DJs spin tracks in Riyadh's clubs. Nicholas Pelham, The Economist's Middle East correspondent, recalls his disbelief.
I think I had to do a double take. It was really quite an astonishing sight.
Pelham further adds,
Saudi Arabia, for all the time that I've known it, until about the last 5 or 6 years, has been a society where public space was ruled by religious police. What I found so hard to grapple with was just how normal it all felt.
But how did this transformation happen? For decades, Saudi Arabia was governed by a strict interpretation of Islam, with clerics controlling everything from education to social life. MBS changed that almost overnight. He just stripped the clerics of their power, gave women the right to drive, and opened up the country to entertainment and tourism. Ali Shihabi, a Saudi analyst close to the royal court, calls it virtually miraculous.
If you look at it in a historical context of what societies had to go through to neuter their conservative right-wing religious class, that usually only happened with civil wars. This has all happened without a single cleric being, killed or no violence on the streets. And I think that is virtually miraculous, really.
You see, historically, such radical shifts in society have only happened through civil wars or violent upheavals. But MBS managed it without firing a single shot. Or did he? While the reforms are undeniable, critics argue that they've come at a steep price: a crackdown on dissent, the consolidation of power, and a growing list of victims.
It wasn't clear that the line of succession was going to pass from one generation to the next. And if you were going to move to the next generation, there were many princes who were far better known. Mohammed bin Salman was an unknown quantity.
Let me tell you here, MBS wasn't always the face of Saudi Arabia. In a kingdom where power traditionally passed from brother to brother, MBS was an unlikely candidate. He was young, inexperienced, and overshadowed by older, more established princes. But his father, King Salman, had a soft spot for him. When Salman became king in 2015, he handed MBS an unprecedented portfolio of power, like defense minister, deputy crown prince, and chairman of the Council of Economic and Development Affairs.
There seemed to have been something of a standoff. Mohammed bin Naif and his guards were disarmed. Mohammed bin Naif was told that your time is up. The Council of Allegiance has decided that you are no longer the crown prince, and I'm going to fill your shoes.
In 2017, MBS made his move. He forced his cousin, Mohammed bin Naif, to step aside as crown prince. The details are murky, but reports suggest a tense standoff, with bin Naif's guards disarmed and MBS declaring, "Your time is up." From that moment on, MBS was the de facto ruler of Saudi Arabia.
He rounded up the leading princes and the richest businessmen, interrogated them, got them to reveal their banking details. Thereafter, it was very clear that the real only ruler in the kingdom was now Mohammed bin Salman.
To cement his power, MBS launched a sweeping anti-corruption campaign, detaining top officials and businessmen in the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. While some saw it as a bold move to clean up the kingdom, others viewed it as a purge of potential rivals. Either way, the message was clear. MBS was now the undisputed ruler of Saudi Arabia. The dark side of MBS.
When all you have is a hammer, everybody becomes a nail. That's exactly what MBS is doing. And his list of victims will keep expanding inside and outside Saudi Arabia unless somebody decides to put a check on him.
With no rivals left to challenge him, MBS had full control. But power unchecked often leads to dangerous decisions with global consequences. MBS's critics accuse him of being ruthless and impulsive. As defense minister, he launched a brutal war in Yemen, which has led to one of the world's worst humanitarian crises. And then there's the murder of Jamal Khashoggi, the Washington Post journalist who was killed and mutilated with a bone saw in the Saudi consulate in Istanbul.
We were due to meet actually in Istanbul the weekend that he disappeared. I think Mohammed bin Salman, he wanted to send a message that this is what happens when you question my authority.
The CIA believes MBS approved the operation to kill or capture Khashoggi. While MBS has denied ordering the murder, he's admitted responsibility, saying it happened under his watch. Chilling, right? The killing sent shockwaves around the world, but it didn't stop MBS. If anything, it showed very well just how far he's willing to go to silence his critics. Oil, power, and the New World Order.
I think the kingdom is in a uniquely powerful position with what is happening in Ukraine.
Today, MBS is stronger than ever, thanks to the global energy crisis. With the war in Ukraine disrupting oil supplies, the world is turning to Saudi Arabia. Leaders from the US, Europe, and Asia are lining up to secure deals with MBS, making him a key player in global politics. But this newfound power comes with risks. MBS's aggressive policies, both at home and abroad, have made him enemies. The war in Yemen has left Saudi Arabia vulnerable to attacks from Houthi rebels, while his economic reforms have yet to deliver on their promises.
Is it his own recklessness? Is it his own brutality? Is it his own desire to be the only voice in the kingdom that could ultimately prove his undoing?
So who can stop MBS? I'm sure by far you guys now have got it that inside Saudi Arabia, dissent is crushed and opposition is silenced. But, as Nicholas Pelham points out, ruling by fear has its limits. For sound policy, you need people who can say no. And at the moment in Saudi Arabia, everyone is too scared to say anything but yes.
Mohammed bin Salman really is ruling by fear. I saw it on my recent visits more than I've ever seen it before. It does beg the question, as it has for other totalitarian leaders in the Middle East. How long can you continue to rule by fear and by force? And at what point could there be a breaking point?
Agree or not, beyond the kingdom, the war in Yemen and the Khashoggi murder have tarnished MBS's reputation. But with oil prices soaring, the world seems willing to look the other way. The question is, how long can this last? MBS is a man of contradictions, a reformer and a tyrant, a modernizer and a despot. Whether he's the most dangerous man in the Middle East depends on who you ask. But one thing is certain, in a world hungry for oil, MBS holds all the cards, and he's not afraid to play them. So what do you think about MBS? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of geopolitics.